out for Friday the 5th of August. Thank you very much for tuning in wherever you're tuning in. Please keep listening all the way to the end, because I am planning to do a giveaway at the end, but you never know. These things don't always happen when you're trying to do a guerrilla podcast on the internet. It is Friday. I am very much looking forward to a bit of a sleep in tomorrow, because as much as I enjoy doing this, it is getting a little bit frustrating having to get up and wake myself up nice and early to get this done. So I appreciate that you're listening, because if you're listening, that means I'm doing something that somebody's listening to, if that makes any sense. But we'll keep moving. You can tell it's a bit early and I haven't quite woken up yet, perhaps. But that's the joy of doing a daily podcast about what's going on in the world. And one thing that's going on in my world, I'm not a hoarder as such. I am not oh my God, I have to keep my urine and all that kind of stuff. Urine's very useful in the garden, so you should keep some of it for some things. But it's I'm not a hoarder like that. But I am like many other adult men, where I don't want to throw away things that are potentially useful or potentially worthwhile. And so I've got a lot of cardboard boxes that I don't want to throw away. And tying in with the giveaway later, I want to give away a record later. I've got a bunch of vinyl that I don't care for and that I'm happy to give away. And one of the reasons I want to give some away is because I've got a lot of vinyl boxes that I've bought records and got the box, and then I've kept the box under the theory that at some point I might sell some records and need the boxes because they're of a certain size, as you can imagine. So I've got a bunch of those, so I want to use them. And that's that at some point I may use those boxes and it'll be really awesome. I actually opened up a cupboard here in the spare bedroom the other day and was surprised that it was full of cardboard boxes. I'd forgotten that I'd completely filled this wardrobe with cardboard boxes. So let's use some of my excess stuff as giveaway, and we'll give some prizes away to people who actually listen all the way to the end of the show. But the thing that got me really excited was that using the streaming thing that I've got here that I'm recording with and eventually will stream and stuff, I can do things like swap over to the other camera and talk to the other camera, which is fantastic. It doesn't really matter if you're listening to this as just an audio podcast, but for those who are watching it, it's fantastic. There's two cameras and you can have two different shots and things, and then I can come back to the main camera and talk to the main camera. It's great. I can even have things like picture-in-picture, which is pretty fantastic and fancy. And as the young boy who went into the school video editing software area at school one or two times and mastered at the buttons and had no idea how any of it worked, this kind of technology is fantastic. But the cool thing is that this streaming software and stuff works off phones. So you can have multiple phones with the app on it, and the app sends the picture across to the streaming service. And the cool thing about that is, because I'm a bit of not a hoarder as such, but I don't like to throw things away, I've got a bunch of old phones. And I just plugged one in today, and it powered up. And I was surprised, because I didn't think any of these old phones that I had actually did power up. But this one's powered up. So I've now got the opportunity to have a total of 3 or maybe even 4 cameras, so that when no one watches this on YouTube, they will be able to not watch multiple camera angles that'll be just amazing and really impressive. At least that's what I think anyway. So I'm really excited by that. It just proves that waste not, want not. Don't necessarily, just because Marie Kondo or whatever her name was says that if it doesn't spark joy, you should throw it out. Maybe it might spark joy in a year or two. Who knows? Or in this case, I think this phone was it's a very old, beaten up. So it's only got one camera, which is amazing. Because remember when iPhones only had one camera? It's a bit beaten up and stuff. But it works perfectly good. It's, funnily enough, got a bunch of the exact same apps that I've always had on here. And even though all your photos and stuff get saved to the cloud and everything, hopefully there's a bunch of stuff on here that sort of floods some memories and stuff like that. It all looks exactly the same as my current phone, to be honest. But this is I think it's about 3 phones ago. But it's going to be great. I'm going to have an extra camera. So that's just a little story from my world about how if you don't throw things away too quickly, you can still use them in the future for some random podcast project that you want to do that very few people listen to. But if you are, again, one of those, I'm really grateful for the people who are listening, because there are some listeners. We're building those numbers up all the time, just trying to improve, trying to get better, trying to give people something to listen to. I don't know, trying to satisfy my own ego maybe a little bit. We'll see. Today on the show, we've got a couple of news articles that I want to reference and stuff. The first one we're going to talk about is not that one, it's this one. High Court throws out Ben Roberts-Smith defamation appeal. Now, as far as I'm aware, as far as I remember, and I could be wrong, I've done a very quick, because I'm like a lot of us out there, I haven't done a full in-depth read of this article, but I've done a bit of a read. And Ben Roberts-Smith was a decorated soldier in the army. I'm not exactly sure what his rank was. Here, former Special Air Service Corporal. There you go. And during, I believe it was the Afghanistan War, he did some incredibly questionable things. I believe there was killing of unarmed civilians and things like that. A bunch of stuff that was reported in a news article as being war crimes. And he then sued for defamation because he was like, well, wait a second, you can't just say that about me. I didn't do war crimes. I'm a decorated soldier and stuff. He's now gone through, where was it? He's now gone through millions of dollars and 7 months, I think it was. One of my old alarms on my old phone just went off for 7 o'clock. So it's good to know that it's now 7 a.m. For anyone out there listening. I thought I saw it. There it is, 7 years and tens of millions of dollars in lawyer fees and what have you. And some would suggest wasting the time of the court, which is always a thing, to prove or to throw out yet again, because this is not the first time this has been thrown out of or been rejected and stuff, saying that he, the reporting did not constitute defamation, which effectively means that he is a war criminal and that he has done these terrible things during war. The image that got a lot of sort of moral outrage and stuff was drinking out of the leg of a fake leg of a civilian or a prisoner or something. There was also a bunch of different situations where he did some very, very dodgy thing. And apparently Kerry Stokes, who is a Seven West media chairman, so a rich person, a media mogul, bankrolled the whole thing, which is kind of questionable and a bit dodgy and stuff. But my question is he pissed off? Is he like, dude, I bankrolled you because I thought you were innocent, but it turns out you're not innocent, you bastard. I don't know. But the thing that gets me about this kind of stuff is that we absolutely cannot allow things like war crimes of any nature to happen, because that's just terrible. You don't want to have that. And unfortunately, in war, people are going to do things that are not acceptable, even under the rules of law. And when it's war, because you're killing each other. So there's this limit to what you can do, what you can't do, all that kind of stuff. And we can't accept these severely terrible things, but we can allow people to get shot and killed. We can allow for people to be treated incredibly harshly. But we can't allow civilians, fair enough, all that kind of stuff. It's this weird thing. And a podcast that I used to listen to, and I don't as much anymore, made the point of suggesting that you want the kind of people that are okay to go kill and blow things up and put themselves in terrible danger like that. You kind of want them in your army, defense force, whatever, instead of out on the street, because war being such a terrible place and terrible situation, that's where you want terrible people. But then at the same time, you have to try to rein them in. And you have to try and say, hey, I want you to be a disgusting pig of an animal, of a human, but I don't want you to do certain things. Now, I'm not excusing this guy. From the bare minimum that I've read and heard about his story over the years, he is terrible. He definitely did terrible things and instructed others to do terrible things. And the interesting thing about this is that in a lot of situations within these court cases, a lot of the people that served either with him or under him have come out and have testified at the things that he did. So it's not like me, a civilian who knows nothing about the thing, is trying to morally excuse anything or trying to understand anything. The people that served with him came out and said, this was wrong, this was bad, he is not good, etc. So it's not it's a pretty simple, I was going to say it's not a simple cut and dry, but it is a pretty simple cut and dry. And the question is, of course, does the Army/Defence Force attract these people, or does it make these people? It's just like when you have bad cops. Does the police force attract those people, or does it create those people? Any profession where there is a certain reputation, or not even any profession, any situation of life where there is a certain reputation for a certain type of person, does that situation cause that person, or does it attract that person? And it's I think it's a very interesting philosophical discussion, but at the same time, it's unacceptable. And as a society, we obviously have to say, hey, we want you to be a terrible person by going and killing effectively and have bullets fired at you. But at the same time, you've got to have it under control. You can't be just going crazy. Similar to, say, a boxer. We need you to be able to box, or a fighter of any kind. I quite like the MMA. So a mixed martial artist, we need you to go in there and be an animal and a savage and beat the shit out of this person, but we need you to know when to stop. We need you to know when it's acceptable, when it's not acceptable, and all that kind of stuff. But it is just humorous to me that Ben Roberts-Smith has lost yet another defamation appeal, when if he'd shut up and hadn't referenced the news article 7 years ago, maybe no one would know his name as much as they do now. Because let's be honest, no criminal accusations, or he hasn't suffered any consequences in an actual criminal court or anything. It's only in this defamation where he keeps bringing it up. Pretty much, he keeps bringing it up, and so to a degree, his name being in the media this much is his own fault. But maybe he shouldn't have done what he did. Anyway, on that philosophical note of how these things happen, we're going to go to a segment now, which I'm bringing back from over 15 years ago when I did a little bit of breakfast radio, in student breakfast radio, and I had a segment and I didn't do it very well, and we're going to try and do it a little bit better. But this is the Friday Philosophy Fun Bag. Dun, 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 dun. Probably should get a theme song of some kind for that, but here we go. So back when I was wrong camera. Back when I was a youngster, I used to convince my mum to buy me things, and then the ADHD would kick in, and I would almost instantly lose interest in those things. And it's a personality trait that I'm not proud of. And I still do it to today. I still buy things and get things, and just lose interest very quickly. I've got a sewing machine around here somewhere because I was like, I'm going to get into sewing and like fixing my pants and being that kind of stuff. And I struggled to get the thing loaded, and then I lost interest. And so I'll get to it one day, maybe. Just like I said with holding on to phones and things like that, you can reuse them or use them at some point. Waste not, want not. But one of the things I convinced my mum to get me was this: the Concise Routledge Encyclopedia of Philosophy. And this is literally an encyclopedia of philosophy. It's seen better days. It's falling apart, as you can see if you're on the camera there. But what we're going to do for this Friday Philosophy Fun Bag is we're going to randomly pick something in here and we're going to quickly talk about it. I'm not going to research anything because heaven forbid I'm well researched on this show. I have literally just flicked the pages and got to a page. If you've got this book at home and you're reading along, it's page 246. Epistemology. Epistemology is one of the core areas of philosophy. It is concerned with the nature, sources, and limits of knowledge. There is a vast array of views on this topic, about those topics, but one virtually universal proposition is that knowledge is true belief, but not mere true belief. What? God damn! Now this segment's gonna make me feel stupid, which is always good because from stupid you can become intelligent. For example, lucky guesses or true beliefs resulting from wishful thinking are not knowledge. Thus, a central question in epistemology is, what must be added to true beliefs to convert them into knowledge? That's a good one. That's actually a pretty good one to think about there. So we'll read that again. What must be added to true beliefs to convert them into knowledge? Now, there's a whole... Oh, wow. There's a lot of reading that I could have done there and should have done. You know what? I think in future Friday Philosophy Fun Bags, I might actually pick something and read up on it and have some better knowledge. But what is added to true belief in order to make it knowledge? Make it what did I say? 246. Let's find that again and say it again, because 246, 146. Jesus, this is why no one listens. I'm aware of that, because this is terrible. This is great radio. Where's the... No. Oh my God, this is terrible. There we go. That's some background music as I find it. Okay, I found it. Okay, that's enough from you. What must be added to true beliefs to convert them into knowledge? Facts? Would it be facts? Is the answer facts? What do you think? I think it's facts. I think you can have a true belief. You can have a true belief, but in order for it to become knowledge, you need facts and evidence of that belief, don't you? I feel like I'm forcing religion onto this subject, but I feel like that's religion. That's like people believe, oh, I believe in God. But in order for it to be knowledge from a true belief, you need to convert it by having facts and information. Otherwise, it's just a belief. It's not... You can believe something, but it's not a true belief, or it's not it's not a true belief until you've got facts and information that confirm what you believe. That's a good one, I reckon. I think I'm gonna chew on that for the rest of the day and quite enjoy it, because that's a good little thought nugget, as it were. Again, if you're on a service watching this or listening to this where you can put comments and stuff, please do go to Bobby Freakout on all the social medias and comment. Is this... I've not stumped myself, but I've made myself a little speechless by thinking a bit too hard now. What must be added to beliefs to convert them into knowledge? Next week, when we do the Philosophy Fun Bag again, I will read up on the actual segment, on the actual bit of philosophy, and we'll know a little bit more so that we don't have this stumbling going on. In a slightly humorous, at least to me anyway, news article, automated sextortion spyware takes webcam pics of victims watching porn. Now, As a middle of the road attractive man, I'm not ugly, but I'm not attractive either, in my opinion. I'm quite middle of the road. I do not care if someone watches me watching porn because it's not going to be attractive. It's not going to be that interesting. Trust me. I don't get it. So obviously they're doing it for, what's the word for extortion? It said there, sextortion in the headline. But who cares? Unless you're famous. There was the guy from Buffy, made a video of himself jerking off one time and sent it to someone who made it public. But unless you're an attractive woman or you're who wants to see that? I don't want to see that. I don't know anyone in my life at the current moment that I really want to see that. If I'm in a romantic relationship or a sexy relationship with someone, maybe I want to see that. But then I would think we'd talk about it and we would send that to each other, that kind of content. But I don't understand who are you going to send it to in order to extort the person that you got the vision of? Who cares? We all do it. There are only a few people in the world who don't do it. None of us look that attractive when we're doing it. I mean, if you've ever tried to film yourself touching yourself so that you can send it to a partner, you realize how much work the OnlyFans people actually do. Like, people think that, like, OnlyFans is easy. It's not. Like, come on. Let's be honest here. The lighting, the makeup, the clothing, the positions, what looks good on camera. It's just like how sex scenes in movies, they say that, a really sexy sex scene, but it's not sexy to do. It's not sexy to actually be there and be part of it. It's hard work getting it all to look good. So I don't know who they're giving it to, and we can all accept and acknowledge that we're not the most attractive when we're doing that kind of stuff. It's like genitals. Genitals, in my opinion, are not that attractive unless you are aroused already. That's why sending a dick pic is so stupid. You want to send stuff to arouse someone, and then eventually they might want to see your dick. Same with vaginas and boobs and everything. Like, maybe not boobs. Boobs I probably could be happy to see no matter how aroused I was. But proper genitals, the stuff under the lower half, you don't want to see that unless you're already aroused. So who are they sending this stuff to? Who are they? Because are they just putting it out there and going, haha, you're on the internet now masturbating? Who cares? Now, obviously, I think it's because I'm a male and as I said, a relatively unattractive, middle attractive, whatever man, that doesn't bother me. Probably, I don't know, maybe if you're a girl, it's a bit more personal, a bit more invasive. Also, I'm a little bit extroverted in terms of what I put out on the internet and stuff like that. But I've never, it's never been, and also, I've probably never had the kind of harassment or something that comes from my images being online. No one's ever started contacting me out of the blue and harassing me and stuff, whereas I'm sure a lot of girls have probably, and women have had that experience where middle-aged white men like myself, not like myself, but middle-aged white men who happen to be what I am, will harass girls and go, I saw pictures of you, it was hot and did this and it did. So I guess that's where it's where the issue is. Again, if you've ever been embarrassed by nudes, call up now. Yeah, it just, that kind of stuff doesn't seem that worrying to me. And I've just noticed automated spyware. So I guess that's why you got to put the tape over your webcam, don't you? Or even on your phone. Just the things we have to deal with these days. We have to put tape on our webcams just so that someone doesn't watch us masturbate. Jeez. What a terrible world we live in. We really do. As much as I talk about the joys of technology and finding an old phone that you can use as a camera for your podcast, we do live in a pretty crappy world at times. And on that happy note, yay! Thank you very much for tuning in all this way. I can't believe I almost forgot that I was going to do a giveaway. So what we're going to do, I've randomly grabbed this record here. And I'm randomly going to grab this. Oh, no, actually, I want to keep that one. Oh, I want to keep that one too. And that one. Here we go. Okay, so. Okay. 2 records, all yours. Julio. Oh, look. That's nice. That's an image. I'm going to have to cut that for the promo. Julio Iglesias with a bunch of songs. I love the fact, so on the back here, it's got it in, I assume, Spanish, but it's also got it in English. And track 1, side 1 is Hey, translated to Hey. That's fantastic. So we've got Julio Iglesias and Loving You, which is a compilation. You've got Captain and Tennille, you've got Hot Chocolate, you've got Dr. Hook, Patsy Cline, Natalie Cole, Bette Midler doing The Rose, John Farnham with Help. How is that Loving You? And Air Supply with All Out of Love. I'm all out of love. This one here has got some good tunes on it. I don't understand how Help. I guess Help could be sort of translated to a romantic or a loving, a love song, Loving You. But anyway, get in touch. You don't have to do anything. Just tell me what your address is. I'm going to send you these 2 records. Because if you've listened this far, then I love you, like the Love record, and like Julio. Look at Julio. Julio loves you. Julio loves you, baby. Anyway, a couple of records for you if you want them. I'd prefer it if you're not overseas. If you're just in Melbourne, that would be great, because that'd be cheaper for me. I'm a struggling podcaster. I need all the money I can get. And if you're close by, I might even just come and drop them off to you. But of course, if I do that, I'm going to have to film it for content. Anyway, that's the end of the show. Bobby Freakout Hour coming up this weekend, I hope, or sometime soon. I've got some stuff. I've got some ideas. This is the Daily Freakout. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I will see you on Monday, because we'll do it again, because so many people are not listening that we need to get everyone tuning in. It'll be the 6th, 7th, it'll be the 8th of September, not August, even though the title says that. Thank you very much. Goodbye. This is the Daily Freakout.